So, like, did you get a weird chill down your spine after the first inning, or was that just me? Let's just call it an evening where I was pretty happy Brooks Raley wasn't still on the roster. Hi, I'm Weston. I love talking about the Astros, and I'm here to talk about Game 60 of the regular season, where the Astros win 11-4, dear God, over the Toronto Bluejays, salting their earth and taking the first game of the 3-game set in Toronto. Games like this are fascinating because they simultaneously have so much and so little to talk about. The entire storyline was just the Astros beating the Blue Jays into the dirt. And you can pinpoint the exact moment where everything went sideways for Toronto, which was when Alek Manoah walked onto the mound for the first pitch. Alek Manoah last year had a fantastic ERA and good, not great, underlying numbers. So coming into this season, I thought there would be some regression for Alek Manoah. I just thought that regression would be an ERA from somewhere between like 3.40 to 3.60, not this ERA over 6. It has ballooned to the point where he went from last year being an all-star, that definitive ace of a rotation, to this season not even being a major league pitcher. I'm sorry to say it, and that's mean, but he has an ERA over 6 through 13 starts. This isn't just a rough start, it's bad. And his past 2 starts have been terrible. I want to say he gave up like 7 runs not too long ago against Tampa Bay, which I had the joy of watching in person when friend of the channel, Noah, brought me out to the baseball game. That was not wonderful. And tonight, man, he couldn't get 2 outs in this game. And that's not an exaggeration. He pitched a third of an inning out of the starter who last season was the ace of the rotation. First inning, single by Mauricio Dubon, single by Jeremy Pena, single by Yordan Alvarez. It's 1-0 already. Fly out by Alex Bregman. Oh boy, it did not get much. That was the high point of his afternoon, was the Bregman flyout. Cinnamon Toast Tucker singles to make it 2-0 Astros. Abreu draws a walk, and all of a sudden the bases are loaded. Corey Julks steps up, grand slam. And it is 6-0 in the first inning. There is 1 out in the game. Yainer Diaz singles, Jake Meyers singles, and then the Blue Jays, I assume, went, okay, you good God, we can't do this any longer. It is a hard statement to hear, but when he left the dugout to go make the pitching change, the stadium erupted in cheers, and as Manoah walked off the mound, he was met with boos. This was not just a bad game for Alex Manoah. This is a career-altering bad game for Alex Manoah. And so you feel a little bit bad for Alek Manoah, and there was that small part in the back of my head that remembered the last time I felt bad that the Astros scored a bunch of runs in the first inning off of a pitcher, and I felt bad about it, and that was the Mariners game, but many of you will remember that as the Brooks Raley game, and that thought popped into my head, and I'm like, I know the chance of that happening again is so minute, but now that's all I'm going to be able to think about for the rest of the game. And I've never been made so uneasy by a home run to cut the lead to 5 than when Alejandro Kirk homered to make it a 6-1 lead. And I'm just like, they're not going to do the thing, right? Then Yordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker both just kind of giggled to themselves and said, yeah, they're not coming back in this game. Both of them homering. Yordan Alvarez going 450 plus to dead center. Good Lord, Yordan Alvarez. And Kyle Tucker going opposite field to make it a 7-1 and 8-1 game respectively. And then Jake Meyers homers, 2-run shot to make it 10-1 Houston. And that is when I felt good. That was when I felt safe. That was when I thought they were going to hold on to the lead. And maybe it should have happened before that I felt confident. But when it was 10-1, I felt solid. And I will say, for the people that are like me and felt somewhat uneasy about this game, even when it was 6-0 after the first, and thought about the game that shall not be mentioned, I will say, if the Astros offense decided to stop after the first inning, which has happened before, that's not an uncommon occurrence, the 9th inning would have been a save opportunity. I just feel like I should put that out there. Now, the Blue Jays would get a few more runs back. Bo Bichette would get an RBI single in the 5th inning. Vlad Guerrero Jr. would get an RBI double in the 7th. But in the 8th inning, the Astros get one back to make it 11-3. Alex Bregman with an RBI single, and then Dalton Varsho with a homer in the bottom of the 8th inning to make your final score 11-4. Yeah, it was basically just the Astros grinding them into the dirt under their boot heel. Offensively speaking, you could blindfold yourself and throw a dart and hit someone who had a fantastic game offensively. Jeremy Pena had a pair of base hits. Yordan Alvarez had a pair of hits, including the nuke to dead center and another hit that gave him an RBI, giving him 2 on the afternoon. Kyle Tucker had 3 base hits, 4 hard hit balls for Kyle Tucker this afternoon, including a pair of RBIs in the home run opposite field. Corey Julks had the grand slam. Need I say more? Yainer Diaz and Jake Meyers, however, at the bottom of the order are really the stars of the show. 4 hits for the two of them. The 8th and 9th hitter in the Astros lineup combined for 8 hits. You had Yainer Diaz, who had a pair of doubles and a run scored. Jake Meyers had the home run. Unreal from the bottom of the order. I don't know what Jake Meyers changed, but it has worked, and I mean worked well. He has been, over the past month or so, an offensive wrecking ball, and it is fantastic to see. I said it the entire time through the McCormick and Meyers debate. I had preferred McCormick because at that time, offensively speaking, McCormick was better. But it would be in the best interest of the Astros if he became fantastic and just made me look stupid and started producing at an incredibly high level. And he has. He looks great as of late. And I'm happy about it. If you put Chaz in one of the corners positions and have Meyers starting in center, that's fine. It seems, as the Brantley news continues to either not move or when it does go in a bad direction, that you might need a left fielder. And so if you want to put Chaz over there, that's perfectly fine. I'm more than okay with that. And then you have maybe Jolks as the DH or the alternating left fielder or just a bench bat. That's fantastic to have in your back pocket. But Jake Meyers, I think, is starting to kind of earn that center field position. Speaking of starters and unpleasant conversations that kind of need to be had, Yainer Diaz had 4 hits today. Raised his batting average up to 284 and OPS to 786. Guys, it's got to happen. Yainer Diaz should be the starting catcher for this team. And it's not a pleasant thing to talk about because I really like Martin Maldonado. Love him as an individual. Love him as a teammate for them. He is a very good presence to have in that locker room. If a year from now, at the end of the season, if Dusty Baker says, I'm riding off into the sunset and I'm retiring, and the Astros promoted, or not promoted, but then hired Martin Maldonado to, instead of being the catcher, be the manager, I'd be thrilled. I would be thrilled because I think that is something that calls him. Leadership clearly calls Martin Maldonado. I'd love to have him there. Or as a pitching coach, right, bullpen guy, he'd be fantastic. I'd love to keep him around this organization. It's clear that the Astros love him, and it's clear that he loves Houston. So it is a good marriage. But at this point, Yainer Diaz is a good hitter. And the defense isn't there to prop Maldonado up over him now. The framing hasn't been fantastic this season. His throwing out runners hasn't been what it was. And you might say, well, Weston, steals are up across the league. And I would say, even at that point, even comparatively to the rest of the league and on advanced things, it just isn't there. And you might say, well, Weston, Yainer only has the big numbers offensively because it's a small sample size. He only has 80 plate appearances this year. And I would say, yes, you're correct. A good way to see if that is actually just inflated because of the low plate appearances is to give him more. If you end the season with Yainer Diaz having like 200 total plate appearances and he's hitting like 290 with an OPS near 800, I'm going to pull my hair out. And now we talk about pitching. Brandon Bielak certainly pitched tonight, didn't he? The good numbers, hey, there are a few good ones. 6 2/3, 3 runs, 1 walk. Those are good numbers. Those are good. It's a shame that you have to talk about the not good numbers. 2 strikeouts, 5 swings and misses, 10 hits. This is not getting better. And the one that really, really gets me is the 18 hard hit balls from one pitcher. I have never seen that in my life. I kind of could tell as it was happening that a lot of his stuff was hard contact. And I'm like, oh, this isn't wonderful. And then I pulled up the Baseball Savant page and just, nearly dropped to the floor. But again, bottom of the rotation. Did he give you innings and did you win the game? Yes to both of them. Great night for him. Seth Martinez came in. I almost said the other one. Seth Martinez came in. Would give up the home run in the 8th inning, but picked up a strikeout, and that was the lone blip on the radar for him, so nothing too shabby there. And Ryan Stanek in the 9th inning, picking up a pair of strikeouts, only giving up 1 hard hit ball, and closing the game out for the Astros in what was just an absolute massacre. And I'm realizing as I wrap this video up that I made a boo-boo to start the video with, and this is not a 3-game set against Toronto, but a 4-game set instead. So, the Astros look to take the second of 4 That's when every finger's up except your thumb against Toronto tomorrow at same time, same place, 7:07 Eastern, 6:07 Central. The Astros send Hunter Brown, the Diesel, to the mound, and the Blue Jays will send Kevin Guzman to the mound. I'll be here afterwards to talk about it, but as for right now, that is all I have to say. So if you enjoyed the video, please consider to like and subscribe. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day, and as always, go Astros.